Hello students, here is your chemistry teacher Bhagyashri. Hope you all are safe and healthy. As we know, due to present situation across the country and globe, digital teaching and self-learning become new normal. To ease your learning, I am here to help you and assist you for chemistry subject. So I have a quote here that push yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. With this note, I wish to revise few concepts of your 9th standard syllabus which help in understanding first chapter of your 10th standard chemistry. So let's begin with very basic concept that is matter. As we know, matter is anything that present in our surrounding. So water that we drink, food we eat, air we breathe, and various things we use in our day-to-day life all are example for matter. So in simple word we can say that matter is everything that is present in our surrounding. So matter can also scientifically define as it is anything that occupies space and has mass. See, example we have taken air. Air, we cannot see air, but we can feel air, right? And that air can occupy space and it has some mass as well. So air, though it is invisible, it is also a matter. So matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. See, now the question arises, from what these matter is made up of? Yes, matter is made up of atoms. We know that atoms are very smallest unit, very small tiny unit of everything that you see in your surrounding. So it is also we can say that building blocks of any matter. So we have understood that atoms cannot exist independently. So they combine with another atom and they form molecules which can exist independently. So atoms are smallest particle of an element. So we have named so many elements: iron, copper, hydrogen, oxygen. So these all are elements, and all these elements are made up of very small tiny particle, that is atom. So atoms are basic unit of all kind of matter. But we have understood that atoms cannot exist independently. So they combine with another atom and they form molecules. So molecules are group of atoms that can chemically bond together. See, atoms are always involved in chemical reaction. Whenever the chemical reaction takes place, atoms are taking part in those chemical reactions. Atoms are the entities which involved in chemical reaction. So the process of combination of two or more elements to form a new compound is governed by certain laws, and those laws are together called as law of chemical combination. So this law explains how two or more elements combine to form a new product or a new compound. So there are mainly, we have studied that there are mainly two laws of chemical combination. They are law of conservation of mass and second one, law of constant proportion. So in among these two laws, for your 10th standard you are going to study law of conservation mass. So we have to stress on this law because this law is there for your 10th standard as well. So what is law of conservation of mass? So we have stated this law. This law states that mass can neither be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. Here I have taken one general reaction where A reacts with B to form a new product, that is AB. So at the left hand side you can observe there are two reactants, reactant A and reactant B. So when they chemically react with each other, they form a new product, that is AB. So product I have written on the right hand side of the reaction. Here let's we assume that I have taken 5 grams of A, 5 grams of reactant A and 5 grams of reactant B. So the total mass of reactants is 10 grams. So here we have 10 grams of reactant. So when they react together and form a new product AB, and when we measure the mass of this product AB, it also comes out to be 10 gram. So mass of reactants is always equals to mass of product. So that is the meaning of the law of conservation of mass. Mass can neither be created nor destroyed. So whatever the amount or the number of atoms involved in the reaction, they reappear, they form again at the product side. So this is what the law of conservation of mass. Elements. So elements, they are pure substances. Why they are called as pure substances? Because they are made up of same type of atoms or similar kind of atoms. For example, if I take copper as an element, so that copper is made up of only one type of atoms. What are those? Copper atoms. Similarly, if I take gold, that gold element is made up of only one type of atom. So what is that? Gold atom. So elements are made up of similar kind of atoms. And here the elements, we know that there are 118 elements are there. So it is very difficult to remember the names of all 118 elements. So scientists, they give some shortcut method to represent the names of elements, and one such shortcut method is representing the name of elements with symbol. So here I have listed out the names of the elements and their symbol. You can see aluminium, its symbol is Al, argon, its symbol is Ar, barium, its symbol is Ba. So like this, all 118 elements, they have their own symbol. So this is about elements. Then we move on to ions. What are these ions? Ions are always charged particles. Either they have positive charge or they have negative charge. So here you can see sodium, potassium, silver, copper, etc. So all these are atoms with positive charge. Similarly, you can see here hydrogen, hydride, chloride, bromide, iodide, etc. So hydride to iodide, you can see these are the atoms with negative charge. So ions are either atoms with positive or negative charge, or they may be group of atoms. If I take here ammonium is a group of two types of atoms, nitrogen and hydrogen. So they together form one ion with a positive charge. Similarly, hydroxide, so it is a group of two atoms, oxygen and hydrogen, with negative charge. So ions are either atoms or a group of atoms having positive or negative charge. So next, compounds. So we have learned that compounds are made up of molecules. How we can represent compounds? Even there are plenty of compounds are there, chemical compounds are there. How we can represent them? We can represent compounds by using chemical formula. So how we can write chemical formula? So let's recollect the steps involved in writing chemical formula. Here we have one compound, that is magnesium chloride. So what is the first step here? Writing the symbols. So first we write the symbols of magnesium and chloride. Symbol of magnesium is Mg and the symbol of chloride is Cl. So after this, we'll write the valency of the symbols. So at the top right corner, magnesium, its valency is +2. So +2 I have written at the top right corner here. And the valency of chloride ion is -1. So I have written -1 here. So now the third step is interchange the valency numbers by ignoring plus and minus signs. So by ignoring signs, we have interchanged the valency number. Then the fourth step is writing the interchange numbers at the base. So this 1 will come here below magnesium and this 2 will come below chloride ion. So now by ignoring the base number, if it is 1, by ignoring this 1, we write the formula for a compound, that is MgCl2. So first step is writing the symbol, second step writing the valency of the symbol, third step interchanging the valency, fourth step writing the interchange number at the base, then the fifth step is writing the formula of compound. So this is one example. I have another example, that is ammonium chloride. So first we write the symbols of the ions involved in this compound. Ammonium NH4 plus, chloride Cl minus. So valencies, if you check, ammonium is +1, chloride is -1. Then third step is interchanging the valencies and writing below it. By doing so, we get a new compound, that is NH4Cl. Since Cl, below Cl we get 1 here, so there is no valency, so we write it directly as NH4Cl. Hope this video is helpful in recollecting few concepts of your previous standard. I insist you to revise and practice. This will help you to understand first chapter of your 10th standard chemistry. Thank you.